Hello and welcome! We're going to be talking about the Aristocats today.
Which pet's address is the finest in Paris? Which pets possess the longest pedigree? Which pets get to sleep on velvet mats? Naturellement, the Aristocats.
The Aristocats was released in 1970, so again, we've come to this point where all these films were this postmodern, funky sketching. I've said over and over again, I don't like the animation of it. Same thing follows. I just don't like how it looks, but it's beating a dead horse at this point, so that's my only mention of it. Let's continue on with everything else. If you took Lady and the Tramp and 101 Dalmatians, put it together, and changed it from dogs to cats, this is a film. This is what the film is. Clearly, that means the story was not that great because it wasn't original. This has been done before, twice. The only change that they did is they mashed it together and made it with cats. It's set in France, but every cat has British accents. That doesn't make sense to me. Why aren't they talking French accents? Duchess has a French accent, but Marie has a British accent. But Marie is from France, and you can meet Marie in France. And in the French Pavilion in Epcot, all you have is a bunch of Marie merchandise. So why does she have a British accent? I'm nitpicking here, but honestly that drove me insane watching this film. Lady and the Tramp takes place in 1910. This film takes place in 1910. 101 Dalmatians takes place in London. This place takes place in France. Close enough, geography-wise. Same film. It's the same story. I'm probably gonna get a lot of hate for this, but if we weren't looking at the different stories, it's an okay story. Like, Lady and Tramp's a wonderful story. 101 Dalmatians is a wonderful story. But just, it's so lazy putting them together. And these films were already done before this film was done, so like, it just makes it so much harder to deal with as an original story. I did like the characters though. I really did like the characters. I liked the idea that this rich old lady loves these cats and treats them with the best grace and dignity, which is awesome to see. And I liked that they were very expertise on music and art and everything creative, because that's what I do.
Though at first it seems as though it doesn't show.
And I like that idea of supporting the arts. You always want to support the arts, so in that sense, that works well. And I really love the song Everybody Wants to Be a Cat, even though honestly if it's supposed to take place in 1910, well I guess it has a Moulin Rouge feel to it with the music. It's more jazz. It reminds me more of just straight up Harlem jazz, which wasn't until the 20s. So for me, historically, looking at this also bothered me because it's ahead of its time. But we had Moulin Rouge happening at the turn of the century. It kind of works. It's similar. I'm gonna let that pass.
When everybody wants to be a cat, a square with a horn makes you wish you weren't born. Every time he plays, oh, a rinky-tinky-dinky with a square in the act, you can set music back to the caveman days.
Oh, a rinky-tinky-tink.
The only other problem I had with this is that there's a really super duper racist cat.
Shanghai, Hong Kong, ik fu young. Fortune cookie always wrong. Not the hot one.
It's very cringy to look back at that now. That's the only bad thing too about reviewing these films, is you do find a lot of really weird semi-racist stereotypes in these cartoons. If you like cats, if you like recycled plot lines, and jazz music and arts, then this is a good film. It's not terrible. It's a really good film. It just bothered me that it's a very similar plot line to two previous amazing films that we covered. But as a standalone, it's good. It's enjoyable. It's short, and I really do love the animation at the end. I love how creative they got with it and how experimental. I think during this time period as well, they were kind of falling away from the very experimental avant-garde animation that had in the 30s and 40s. It was nice to see this back, even for a little bit, even though the rest of the animation was that standard postmodern style that I'm not really a fan of. But we're going to continue with 70 films tomorrow. We're going to be looking at the many adventures of Winnie the Pooh. So stay tuned, and as always, I hope you have a magical day, and I will see you real soon.